This is the human heart. Central to our physical body, our survival, revered by poets throughout history as the emotional center of our being. The place we instinctively touch when asked to point to ourselves. And now, what we have known intuitively is being understood scientifically. Researchers are unlocking a new science of the heart that could change everything we know about health and our interconnected nature. Coherence is a state of balance between heart, mind, and emotions, creating a favorable cascade of neural, hormonal, and biochemical events that benefit the entire body. But this phenomenon not only benefits us personally, it affects everything around us, emitting an electromagnetic field that can be measured up to 3 feet outside of the body. When you are in coherence, your heart resonates at the same frequency as the Earth's magnetic field. This frequency positively affects everything around you. When a group of people are in coherence together, this effect is magnified. Could communities synchronized in coherence lower violence, accelerate cooperation, and global harmony? This is the purpose of the Global Coherence Pulse. If we can measure the impact of thousands of people in coherence at the same time, it could lead to a breakthrough in understanding the full potential of the human heart. All you need to participate is your presence and your heart. To take it to the next level, join the research study by downloading the app and getting an HRV monitor to measure your personal coherence. The world needs it more than ever before. Each human heart is unique and magnificent by itself. But imagine what could be possible when we unify.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Global Coherence Pulse. My name is Teresa Collins, and I want to thank you all for taking time out of your day to be here with us. And I'm looking in the chat, and we're from all around the world. This has been happening every month as we come together for these. We're in from Vermont and Wales and Chile and Washington and New Orleans and Tennessee and San Diego and England and the UK and Germany and Argentina and Italy and Ireland, and it goes on and on and on. We're all around the world saying it's worth taking time out of my day to come together and learn about and practice and experience heart-centered coherence in community, and to pulse the planet with our love and our care and our heart-centered awareness. And so right now, I'm just feeling so grateful in this moment to be here with all of you and our guests today. It's really, really precious to be together. And, you know, we host these monthly events just for this purpose. And to be an island of coherence, right? In these moments that we are actually come together and open our hearts together and pulse the planet with our love and care and learn more about how we can cultivate coherence in our life. In these moments, we are an island of coherence. And I feel like today is a really important day for us to come together because it feels like it's a really challenging moment on the planet. You know, it's just been that for the last few years, but it's intensifying. And at times it can seem really bleak and scary what's going on in the world. And yet, as we make this commitment to choose love over fear in the face of whatever we're facing, this feeling begins to arise with potential and promise that there is a future that's equal to our vast potential and the power of our collective love. And so I'm really excited that we're here today because I'm experiencing in my life, and I'm experiencing it because we're coming together like this and we're really learning and deepening our practice. So I'm especially excited about the pulse for today because this theme of the new science and the new story and the new song for me are the reason why I have this unstoppable optimism about our potential, about the potential of our collective human heart. And so I'm really excited that we're going to drop into that today while we're facing into what we're facing. And our guide today is Dr. Jude Currivan, and she'll be sharing thoughts on the theme, and then she'll be guiding our meditation today. And then we're also joined by Gary Malkin, who will add to that experience with his presence and his music. We like to include some wisdom, some music, the meditation, our reflections. So before we go to Jude and begin our process, I want to invite Claudia Wells, who is the co-founder of the Global Coherence Pulse. She's also a founding member of the steering committee for the Global Coherence Initiative, and she's also the board president of the Institute of Noetic Sciences, to come on and to share her heart and her wisdom with us. Claudia, thanks for coming on today. And gosh, it's such a good time for us to be joining together for the pulse.
Thank you, Teresa, as always. And hi, everybody. I'm going to echo Teresa because we just have so much gratitude for all of you joining and bringing your hearts to this initiative. We know there are a lot of other things you could be doing with your time and with your hearts, especially given all that's happening in the world. And as Kaylin put it to me this morning, it's rough out there. It takes courage not to just let our hearts break or close our hearts in an effort to avoid the suffering that can come with having an open heart, and instead learn to empower ourselves, empower our hearts, and pulse the planet with the coherent regenerative frequencies of love and gratitude, of joy and compassion, because they're still there. And by helping create a critical mass of coherence, help to lift our world out of its apparent chaos into a higher order. And as a citizen science initiative, we are also helping science tell a new story in which our hearts are interconnected and co-creative with the intelligence of the natural world, not just on Earth, but beyond, because we know that coherence enables resonance at all scales and with all creation. 20th century physicist Paul Dirac, I think I'm probably butchering his name, D-I-R-A-C, poetically puts it this way, or put it this way: pick a flower on Earth and you move the farthest star. But why do we care that science tells this story? Well, because science is one of the most important, most powerful storytellers in the modern world. And our world is in between stories. We're witnessing a global culture war with battling narratives to replace the current one that's falling apart. That's resulting in a world that appears to be falling apart because it's based on the dominant reductionist, materialist, incomplete scientific paradigm. Will the new story entrench us even further in its beliefs of fundamental separation that result in a destructive love of power? Or will the new story embrace the new emerging science that illuminates our oneness and the power of love as an energetic organizing principle of our reality? Ultimately, of course it will. The question is, when? Maybe you've also heard the old saying that science progresses one funeral at a time. And it means exactly what it sounds like it means. That the gatekeepers of the old paradigm need to actually pass on from this world and be replaced by the new gatekeepers before the dominant paradigm will yield to the emergent. I even found a study done in 2019 that supported the truth of that saying as a way of understanding why scientific paradigms are so slow to change. But the study didn't consider how citizen science might influence that equation. As co-founder of the Pulse, who's also with the Institute of Noetic Sciences, or IONS, I sometimes share about our founder, Apollo 14 astronaut Ed Mitchell, and how I believe that the epiphany that he had in space about the oneness of the universe informs what we're doing on the Pulse. But today I want to share something from Willis Harman, ION's first president, a renowned futurist with Stanford Research Institute, and the person who first brought me into IONS in the first place. Willis wrote a seminal paper in 1969 called The New Copernican Revolution, in which he asked the reader to consider what future historians looking back on their time would conclude was the most important event in terms of its impact on the future. Would they agree with what the futurists were forecasting? Then he asked them to imagine that they were futurists back in the year 1600, around the time of the Copernican Revolution. In hindsight, the significance to the future of Earth losing its privileged position at the center of the solar system to the sun is obvious. But did the futurists of the time predict how profoundly that new story would accelerate the physical sciences or reduce the political power of the church? Of how profoundly it would change their story for centuries to come. So likewise, will future historians looking back on our time agree with today's futurists on the significance of a growing global network of citizen scientists, pulsing heart coherent energy, backed by a global network of sensors and inspired by a global network of heartists in bringing about a new cosmology of consciousness and coherence? Well, it will depend. Often we don't know we're making history until history has been made. And I can't think of a better person than cosmologist and planetary healer, Dr. Jude Currivan, to help take us further into this, not just new or revolutionary story, but evolutionary one. Having Jude with us reminds us that this story isn't just of human or planetary proportion, it's of cosmological proportion. The author of several books, and most recently, The Cosmic Hologram, Jude integrates new science with universal wisdom teachings into a truly holistic worldview. She's an evolutionary leader for whom understanding the new science, experiencing its new story, embodying its new song, and sharing its new messages have been the path of her entire life. We're so grateful to have you with us, Jude. I invite you to come on.
Thank you, dear Claudia. Thank you, dear Teresa. And thank you, everyone. As Teresa and Claudia, I add my welcome too. And I'm just delighted we're all together. Just to say that if you see sparkles around me and rumbling in the background, we're in the middle of a thunderstorm here in the UK. Which feels rather appropriate given the turbulent times we're in, but also what a wonderful opportunity we have. I'd like to share a little bit of our theme today, which is new science, new story, new song. Because as Claudia said, you know, we now have an emergent new cosmology that I feel is going to be even more revolutionary, evolutionary than the Copernican revolution in the 1600s. And last week, I was at Isaac Newton's home at a place called Woolsthorpe Manor in England. And he was born there. It was his family home. They were farmers. But he had been at Cambridge University and a pandemic arrived. And he had to leave the university and he returned home for something like 18 months, essentially in lockdown. And he described that time in Latin as his annus mirabilis, his year of miracles, because in the middle of the pandemic, he came forward with his theory of gravity. He came forward with his understanding of light. He came forward with a completely new mathematics that he needed to describe what he was discovering. And of course, The famous story is that he was sitting in the orchard one day under an apple tree when an apple fell on his head. And that gave him this incredible insight of universal gravity, gravity not just holding us to the ground of our beloved planetary home Gaia, but that gravity kept the stars and kept the planets in their journeys in the cosmos. So he was really the first person to go even beyond Copernicus and Galileo and realize that what happens here on Earth happens throughout our entire universe. And what I felt was wonderful is when we visited last week, that apple tree is still living. And that apple tree is still offering the wonder of apples to the folks, the guardians, the guides who show us around this wonderful home. And I had an opportunity to be in the room where in that Annus Mirabilis, that inspiration that literally changed the world came to him. And my sense is that we're in now another pandemic. And in this pandemic, there has been lockdown. But in that lockdown, in so many ways, with all the challenges, there has been such profound insights, not just in science, but a realization of many, many people of our relationship beyond ourselves, our relationship with nature, our relationship with the wider world, and linking up and lifting up through acts of kindness. The Global Coherence Pulse was born in these times. It's enabling us to come together, to link up and lift up, to level up and light up together, to begin to experience, not just understand this new narrative of the new science, but to experience it together and begin to embody its wisdom and its understanding and perception of oneness. So how amazing that we are in this time of perhaps, yes, breakdown and yes, breakthrough. And as Teresa and Claudia both said, this wonderful community, global community of citizen scientists that aren't just, us working with what is the evidence for the science and the coherence of heart consciousness and heart perception. But so many people are looking into the stars and actually analyzing the patterns in the stars to support the evidence of unity and oneness of our entire universe. They're looking deep into the nature around them and seeing the patterns and the relationships and the way that forests embody this profound sentience of mother trees that look after the younger trees and the whole forests, of slime molds that are more intelligently able to connect with each other than supercomputers, or they take less time. This new science is both now offering us a framework of unity, but crucially is offering the evidence for unity. And so when I wrote my 6th book, as it turns out, The Cosmic Hologram, back in 2017, I wanted to bring all the evidence at all scales of existence and across many fields of research to reveal this new science, this cosmology of consciousness, this science of love, because what it is showing us is that mind and consciousness aren't something we have, but literally what we and the whole world are. So our thoughts, our intentions matter. Our words have resonance and harmony, are vibrational. Everything is vibrational. Everything has wavelength and frequency. All the energy and matter that is the appearance of our world is vibrational. But actually what is so wonderful now is that the new science and the evidence for it goes beyond goes beyond Newtonian science. Wonderful that it is, because he said we stand on the shoulders of giants, and indeed we do. And in the 20th century, Albert Einstein and the pioneers of quantum physics stood on those shoulders, and they themselves were giants. They brought forward quantum theory that describes energy matter. Albert Einstein brought forward this concept of space-time that describes an invariant space-time where space expands and time flows. But now we stand on their shoulders too, because instead of a universe of energy, matter, and space-time, we're realizing that that appearance emerges from deeper levels of causation, of cosmic intention, of sentient, intelligent patternings, dynamic patterns of relationships that come into the appearance of indeed a cosmic hologram, where the hologram of cosmic consciousness projects the appearance of the existence and evolution of our universe informationally, so that consciousness articulates itself in this universal alphabet of information, digitized like our technologies are, but that digitized universal information is imbued and all-pervasively meaningful. There is nothing we're finding in existence bereft of meaning or purpose. So this is turning the old science completely upside down, because the old science was a cosmology that was solely material and described a world essentially of separation. And as Claudia said, a world of separation, a worldview of separation, drives a world of suffering, because our worldviews, fragmented or holistic, whatever they may be, drive our behaviors. So this new science and the evidence for it, crucially the evidence for it, instead is showing a universe that exists and evolves as a unified entity, where its unity is expressed in radical diversity, which embodies an impulse, an innate impulse to evolve from simplicity to complexity, from atoms to planets and plants and people, that is intrinsically, innately, inherently meaningful and purposeful. And so we have that innate meaning and purpose. And each and every unique one of us is collectively part of a genius called the human species. And we stand at the bow wave of that evolutionary impulse of our universe. We stand with it, with the universe soul, and our planetary home Gaia as an innately sentient cosmic thought, a great thought of the eternal and infinite mind of the cosmos. And we are the microcosmic co-creative partners of that evolutionary impulse. That, it seems to me, is this moment in time where we wake up from the illusion of separation to remember that we are literally inseparable. And this new narrative of the new science, a cosmology of consciousness, a science of love, is inviting us to this adventure of new stories, because a narrative of itself, this whole worldview framework of itself, can sometimes seem abstract. But with the evidence and the wholeness of this framework, and crucially the evidence that helps us ground us in its reality, we can share new stories of what it means to be human. We can share new stories to go beyond that as microcosmic co-creators of this new adventure, this new chapter, this new step and steps in our human journey. We can, I hope, as we heal our dis-ease of materialism and separation, and remember our wholeness, we can also wake up to remember we are children of Gaia, our planetary home, a sentient, intelligent, meaningful planet evolving in a meaningful and purposeful universe. As my dear friend Michael Linfield tells us, we're all Gaians. It's from this perspective, this expanded awareness of who we really are, that we can tell our new stories. And our universe and its evidence, as the ancients understood, all of its existence and experience and evolutionary potential is played harmonically, is literally, is a cosmic symphony. And where it's not written, it's improvised jazz. That's what we're doing together. We're improvising the jazz of our evolving universe. This is its song. All is vibration, all is harmony. We're joined today by a dear friend, my dear friend and wonderful musician, Gary Malkin, to share with us this new song, and that we can all sing together. It vibrates through us, it vibrates together. And so this new adventure, framed by the new narrative of the new science, which in a way is the ancient science moving on, becoming, remembering the wholeness, but then going beyond that to reveal so much more, because the ancient science did not perceive the evolutionary principle that lies at the heart and soul of our universe, soul's meaning and purpose. This new narrative, this new science now can birth new stories. And another dear friend of mine, Rodri Samuel, and I were giggling the other day because we've loved the stories of the hero's journey. But the hero's journey, often it was a he, not a she. So let's widen that. But also it was an individual journey. And now we're on a collective journey. Instead of the just me, it's the we. So Rodri and I are now calling it the Weirdos Journey. But what a wonderful Weirdos Journey it is. And in English tradition, in Saxon language, the way of the weird was the way of wisdom. So here we are, new science, new story, new song. And on that note, I will hand over to us sharing and beginning to experience the wondrous, genius magic of Gary Malkin.
Greetings, everyone. What an honor to be here with such delicious company. I heard it once said that the state at which we vibrate is the state at which we create. But I would say that the state at which we pay attention and the multiple dimensions that we cultivate our attention are the multiple dimensions in which we are open to being transformed. So this next thing you're about to see is an experiment in holistic attention cultivation. Sarah McCrum and I currently call it transformances because they're meant to create states of trance, but they're performed live. And they're a new idea in cultivating an aligned media, kind of media fire for all of us to be moved by nature, by spaciousness, by heart coherence. So that's all I'll say for now. Thank you for utilizing this short 2-minute video as a way to create multidimensional coherence. Thank you.
Looks like Kalen might be offline and he was going to play that for us. Wait, stand by, he said. Gary, I'm really excited that we're incorporating these today, and we're going to do one of the transformants now, and we're going to do another one at the end. And I'd like to just kind of say this is our opportunity now. Jude has filled us with chills of hope. I love that. Somebody wrote that in the chat. And so we're open in the midst of what we're doing. And this Transform Us will start our meditation journey. And this particular one I love so much, Gary, because it asks us to actually right now open our hearts together. And that's what this is all about. So I love that these are available and that you made these, you and Sarah, and have been gifting them for moments just like this. So let's see.
I'm also able to share it if you'd like me to, either way, if they don't have
Yeah,
it.
why don't you go ahead and why don't you go ahead and share it?
I just have to find it, whoever gets there first. And
Gary, go ahead, yeah.
if I can find it in time. Oh, it won't let me share. It won't. Oh, yes, it will. Hold on. Unless they're doing it.
No, go ahead.
Okay, hold on. I have to find it. Bear with me. Here we go. And the one is called Into Our Hearts, I think you said.
Yeah.
World Wisdom of World Unity. We can. Oh, there it is. Does she have it? No. Okay,
Yep.
here we go. All right, hold on. And it's the one that's Into Our Hearts. Here we go. And
let's be quiet for a moment and drop out of our minds and into our hearts. Let's listen to the songs, the melodies, the tunes that our hearts play, winging their way from each one of us to each other of us. Connecting us. Bringing us together. Bringing us into harmony with each other. Bringing us into love.
And Jude's going to bring us into our meditation.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Sarah. That was beautiful. Before we move into our meditation, I just would like to respond to someone in the chat who talked of supernatural and weird. One of the great joys for me personally of the new science is its evidence supports not supernatural or paranormal phenomena and experiences, but what my friend and ion scientist Dean Radin calls supernormal phenomena that expand our awareness, but are supernormal because they are a natural aspect, a fundamental attribute of the unified and non-locally connected nature of our universe, which the new science is showing us. So the new science is showing why our global coherence pulse matters. It's showing why it has an effect. And I like from Gary, the new woo-woo is the new wow. Absolutely. Yes, it is. So what this is inviting us into as well is to really open our awareness to our innate super normal superpowers, which are as every day as paying attention to synchronicities, which are every day paying attention to our intuition. And perhaps even beyond that, when we have telepathic awareness, remote cognition awareness, but also vitally to appreciate why our global coherence pulses, our intentions matter, because they do. And so this new science, I hope, is naturalizing our relationships with the multidimensional wonder of our universe. It's inviting us to engage in communication with other sentience, other intelligences, whether they be devic and elemental realms of Gaia, whether they're angelic realms, whoever. This is the adventure. This is the deeper, grander adventure we're being invited into. So now I invite us to close our eyes and relax, and basically to just be at peace within ourselves. And I invite you, as you do so, to journey back with me 13.8 billion years to the very first moment of our universe that began not in the implied chaos of a big bang. It wasn't big and it wasn't a bang. Instead, as the ancients tell us, it was the first moment of a beautifully ordered, incredibly fine-tuned and ongoing big breath. To take ourselves back to that first moment and just have a sense of the universe being born within each of us as we are born within it. It began as a baby universe all those billions of years ago. We essentially were born with it, because all the atoms that make up us now, Gaia now, our star, sun, soul now, they've changed their forms, but they were there from the very beginning. All the energy and matter that makes us up now has transformed and yet remained the same. Literally, our essence is as ancient as the first moment of our universe. So as we journey now from that first moment onwards, just feel into what being a baby universe feels like. And we're now also journeying into the song, into the story and the song of our universe and us. And the song of our universe literally began in those first moments. Space was too hot to be transparent to light, yet it was transparent to sound. And so from those very first moments, and for the first nearly 400,000 years of its journey, as space expanded and time flowed, the universe was nurtured by sound, by the primordial Om that literally rang throughout the entirety of space. Just feel that Om within you now. Feel it resonate within you. And that Om also composed the notes of matter that went on to form the first stars. So hundreds of millions of years later, the first stars were sung into being by the echoes of that primordial Om. And those first stars themselves resonated with the vibrationary song of the universe. They lived and then they died, but in their dying, they seeded space with nutrients, with ingredients, with elements that then billions of years later would form interstellar dust clouds, birthing clouds, themselves resonant with the potential for us, for life, for planets, for plants. They resonated, their pre-organic molecules resonated with the water, the ice that pervaded them, resonated with the ultraviolet light that shone through them, getting ready for the birth of solar systems and planets and us. So just feel again yourself nurtured into the birthing nest of an interstellar dust cloud. It was the womb that became our solar system. Feel yourself. Oh, you're getting ready. You're not there. Our planet's not yet ready to be born itself, but the potential, the promise. Oh, the joy, the gift, the love that already has been 9 billion years in the nurturing. And then a supernova exploded around 200 light years from our interstellar dust cloud. And again, its shock waves vibrated through the interstellar dust cloud and caused it to collapse, to become coherent in a disk of matter and energy, of information, pregnant with possibility, that as it swirled, in its center began to form our proto-sun, our proto-soul. Around it, harmonically resonant in their burgeoning orbits, were the planets of our solar system. And around 93 million miles away from our central soul, Gaia was coming into being, harmonizing, resonating with her siblings, her planetary siblings. Feel that birthing, that promise of life beyond organisms, but also the possibility to birth organisms like us. And 5 billion years ago, Sol began to light up. That proto-star became a star, and his warmth and light shone on his planetary children and shone on Gaia. And in the meantime, vast amounts of water, life-giving, life-bringing, life-nourishing water was brought to our planetary home as a gift, as a birthing gift, for Gaia to become, to be a water planet. And since then, for the next 4.5 billion years, Gaia, our beloved Mother Earth, has nurtured her evolving children from being a young mother and giving birth to the Gaia sphere of her geology, of her waters, of her atmosphere, all readying so that she could give birth to the first cellular life. Just feel yourself coming into that beingness of being a first cell, and then going through billions of years of co-evolving with her other life forms, ever more complexity, ever greater self-awareness to multi-celled organisms, and then more and more to complex life, its diversity, its abundance. And now I'm going to invite you to move into the silence for about 5 or 6 minutes to just feel yourself continuing that journey of her biosphere, of us, from single-celled beings to us now, each of us, of 37 trillion cells, and a community not just of human cells, but of fungi and bacteria and viruses, a community that is each of us, and a community that is all of us. And I invite you into that deep immersion into the story of you, the story of me, and the story of we. Let's remain in this beautiful, beautiful space as we radiate our love and joy and gratitude for all that each of us is, for all we really are, for what the whole world, our entire universe in all its multidimensional majesty, our beloved planetary home Gaia, and the entire cosmos. To invite Gary now to carry us forward with his wonderful music.
We can't hear you, Gary.
This music is meant to support states of gratitude, so I'm going to let it play a little bit more. Allow ourselves to steep in the gift of this music as I fade it away slowly. Let the lilting of the music nurture your heart, your body, your mind. It's my great privilege to once again share in a field created by such unity that Jude has given us. And I'm so moved. When I was 18, I went to college and I was in Los Angeles near the ghetto and the purple sunset and the first inklings of a world that wasn't well, with problems and environment. And out of that amazing birth of the dream that was the love revolution, this amazing musician from Canada, Joni Mitchell, came forward with this song in those late 60s, early 70s. And I have never not been moved by what this song brings forward. And I've always sung it. And then Jude asked for it, not knowing I had a relationship with this. So I'd like you to hear this song, not as a piece of entertainment or a performance, but a form of entertainment. Hopefully we can experience the awe. Gives rise to humility, gives rise to gratitude, gives rise to awareness, and to awareness of our oneness. Turn my mail off. Sorry about that, you guys. came upon a child of God. He was walking along the road, and I asked him, "Where are you going?" And this he told me. "I'm going on down to Yasker's farm. Gonna join me a rock and roll band. I'm gonna camp out on the land. I'm gonna get my soul free." We are stardust. We are golden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. Well, can I walk beside you? I have come here to lose the smog, and I feel to be a cog in something turning. Well, maybe it's just the time of year, and maybe it's the time of man. I don't know who. I gotta know who I am, but you know life is for learning. We are stardust. We are golden, and we've got to get ourselves into the garden. By the time I got to Woodstock, we were 8 billion strong, and everywhere there was song and celebration. And I dreamed I saw the bombers riding shotgun in the sky, and they were turning into butterflies above our nation. We are stardust, million-year-old carbon. We are golden, caught in the devil's bargain, but we've got to get ourselves. We've got to get ourselves. We've got to get ourselves into the garden. Into the garden.
Mm. Mm. So beautiful. So, so beautiful. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Jude. That's spotlight. We'll add some spotlights. Claudia, if you're available to come on.
My heart is beating so fast right now.
Oh, that was so beautiful. We're just going to take a little time right now as we're all just feeling this fullness in our hearts. And I know that it just naturally goes out from us together to all the places on the planet that are most needed right now. We don't even have to direct it. It's like the love knows where to go. And the quality of our love together right now feels so palpable. I'm like you, Gary, my heart is like, it's overflowing. And Jude, what a beautiful experience to just go right back to the source of our love and how it just continued to unfold more and more beauty and glory. And it was a song that just kept singing. So I loved that so much. And I feel like the most essential thing that we can do right now on the planet is what we're doing here, where we're connecting with that natural state of coherence inside of ourselves. And we're tuning into the unique note that each of us is, and letting the love that we uniquely are be our gift on the planet in this evolutionary, just glorious and challenging moment. So I just want to open up for each of you to share something. Claudia, maybe we'll start with you. And then round to Jude and Gary.
It's always so challenging, how to express the gratitude for being together and for your words, Jude, not just your words, but the way you embody the story. And Gary, the way you embody the one song. Words just always feel like such a step down for me after being in that wordless space together. But what you just said, Teresa, about the love knowing where to go, I always say that, and I always feel like, how can I say that? How can I know that? But when Jude said that the universe is being born within each one of us, it just makes very elegant sense to me. So I just thank you for the time together. Thank you everyone for joining us again. Nearly 300 of us. Someone was asking how many people gave their time and their hearts on this day. Thank you.
Jude.
First of all, thank you, everyone. I just feel this wave of love, this beautiful pulse of love flowing around our beloved Gaia. And just to add some very simple words, this for me is not about reminding us of who we really are. This is re-hearting us of who we really are. And when we re-heart ourselves in community, then we have the courage, which is the bravery of the heart, to step forward, and we can meet anything and serve the highest purpose of what the universe soul is calling us to in this precious, pivotal moment of choice. Thank you, everyone.
I move to share. My life has been devoted to being an instrumental composer, and I've never gone public around being a closet singer-songwriter, but I've been writing songs my whole life. I'm now writing a musical and all this. The synchronicity, and this is very personal, so the synchronicity of Jude, you inviting me to sing my favorite song in the universe. and that was obvious that I've been asked to embody my one of my great teachers who I adore, Brene Brown, who made it suddenly how I was my whole life, not something to be ashamed of, around having a fierce commitment to having my heart on my sleeve all my life, right? It's been a challenge. And suddenly there's science that says that I might not be known as a songwriter, but I'm going to sing it to hundreds of people online, right? And awakening myself away from the ego's concerns and through the authenticity of just what I love, which is sharing that sentiment, that specific sentiment, more than any other one, into song. So just very personally, thank you, Gaia, and God for, the synchronicity of you asking for that. The likelihood is pretty remarkable. Otherwise, I would never in a million years expose that much. But that's what's being called now. And I get that, that beautiful, reheart us. Love that phrase. So that's what I want to say is thank you for the opportunity to learn together how to be radically authentic and intimate and tender with each other, especially online. Not just sort of, but especially online. What better invitation than to find radical ways of letting our love and heart and soul and interconnectedness be experienced. This is the time, this is the now, this is the place. Thank you for the opportunity to share.
Thank you, Gary. Beautiful. Well, I'm going to take just a minute to share a few announcements and then stay because we're going to close with another one of Gary's and Sarah's transformances, which is really beautiful. So I'm going to put some links in the chat and I'm putting them all at once so you could actually just copy and paste the whole bunch. And there's also a little thing under the 3 dots next to where you can post a message where you can save the chat. So if there's anything that you want to save on here, it's easy to do that. So I want to give you an opportunity to. And Gary, I think you need to stop sharing. You might be still just sharing sound or something so I can share. Great. All right, here we go. But just a few announcements to go along with those links. We do the Global Coherence Pulse every 3rd Saturday of the month. And we've done a few in between, like we had our Global Coherence Day in the beginning of August. And we always post the replays on a page with links to all the presenters so that you can follow up with them. So please check out globalcoherencepulse.com for that. .org for that. And there's 3 links I have here for Jude. And the first one is to Whole World View, which is her website. And definitely go there and see the work that they're doing. And then Jude, there were 2 events that you're going to be participating in. The first one is the Power of Love. Do you want to say something about that?
Yeah, I'd love to, Teresa. Thank you. The Global Oneness Summit is a summit in October with Humanity's team. And again, I think, Teresa, you've got a link for it as you're showing. And I'm being involved with a number of panels for that. One is relating to embodying our evolutionary potential of oneness. Another is with Emmanuel Kunzelman called the Hollow Movement, which is this holographic fractal emergent science that is very much the framework of cosmic hologram. We have another, which is about reclaiming female archetypes for embodying evolutionary empowerment. And there's another one I'm involved with, which is looking at the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, but from a whole world view, from a holistic, from a unity-based framework, from this cosmology of consciousness, this science of love. What will that mean when we turn around and, coming from that place, work together and come together and link and lift up together for those? So that is in October, the Global Oneness Summit.
Then you have one more, the 11 Days of Global Unity.
Indeed, and this is something that we, the world, and again, you've got the link for this, 11 Days of Global Unity, and the way that Whole World View is likely to be involved with this is similar to last year, where we work together to co-create 11 pulses aligned and attuned with the themes that you see here, from unity through to peace, of the 11 days of global unity. And this year, I'm getting very much that instead of coming from a human perspective of these themes, to attune with Gaia's voice, so that these themes are coming forward from the perspective of Gaia's sentience and Gaia's call.
Mhm. Thank you, Jude. We'll definitely join you on that. And Gary, you have your Soul Song Saturdays and your work on wisdomoftheworlds.com. Do you want to say something about that?
Just the wonderful, oh, sorry about that. The wonderful axiom that prayers sung are prayers with wings. And it's a beautiful way to envelop, rather than just the moisturizing power of heart as music can be for 5 minutes in a call. It's a whole hour and 15 minutes of taking our deepest wishes for ourselves, setting it to music, and having it be a talismanic tool for your daily empowerment. And it's a beautiful experience. You should experience it and join us. I would love to have you join us.
That sounds so fun, Gary. We'll definitely do that. That's the first Saturday of every month in the morning. And then we have the third Saturday for the Pulse.
Oh, and by the way, it's a mistake. It's 10 o'clock, not 9 o'clock. I realized the graphic was wrong. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, they can register for it.
All right, good. Yeah.
We also, as I said, Global Coherence Day we had on August 1st, and the recording of this is available. The Global Coherence Initiative launched their Global Tree Monitoring Project during that one. Beautiful offerings from Greg Braden and Claudia and Roland, Howard and Deborah, and of course our Hardest Minnows. So I put a link in the chat where you can go and find those. And there's also some small clips from our first Global Coherence Day with Claudia and Roland, really, again, just helping to remind us about the power of our collective human heart and our cultivation of coherence. And this theme, new science, new story, new song, we're carrying that into Saturday Night Alive tonight. So we're going to have this all day, really just saturating in this. Greg Braden's joining us. Jude will be joining us by video and setting the tone. Marsha Lefferts, Just Magic, True Osborne, Gary's going to be coming back along with Sarah, Michael Linfield. So please join us tonight, and let's keep pulsing the field all day with this love and presence. We really, really need it right now. The world needs it. We need it individually in order for us to have the courage to keep choosing love in the face of all that we're facing together. And as we said, the Global Coherence Pulse is a citizen science initiative, and we are going to be hosting, along with GCI, the Global Coherence Initiative, a special session with Roland McCready on September 2nd. And this is for people who are using the app and sensor and would like to come together with others doing the same, where we can deepen our understanding of using these tools. It also really helps us get the feedback. So if you have a sensor, or you're wanting to get a sensor, or you're using the app and you want to join together for some information and a meditation and reflection, there's a link for that. And then the Islands of Coherence, our social network in partnership with the Global Coherence Pulse. If you want to connect with other people around the planet who are choosing love over fear and wanting to deepen your practice and have a place where you can have access to all of these materials, please join the Islands of Coherence. This is a place where we can really come together all the time, not just on our monthly calls. And in the Islands of Coherence, we have weekly meditation and breakout group sessions where we can stay in the practice and connect with one another. And we have one of our friends from the Islands of Coherence is offering some virtual dream catcher events. And I've attended one of them, and they're quite amazing. So I put some links in the chat for those events that are coming up, and also an 8-week incubator program where you can be supported in meeting your future self and giving birth to your unique projects and purpose. So those are our announcements for today, and we are going to close. I hope you'll join us join Jude in the events that are coming up. We'll offer those up in emails for you and also post them on the site. And again, you can download this chat so you have all those links for yourself. And we are going to close this session with a beautiful transformance. Maybe Gary, if you want to say something about that before we go. I love that there's one that closes us up, and I really want us to take it to heart and really integrate this experience that we've had together so that our cells are like saturated with it, so that we share it into the world with our presence, and that it really uplifts us. Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about this short transformance coming is when you think about the radical wilderness of the present moment, and that none of us ever know what's going to happen next. And I love that this way of preparing for us being together is that we're really all living on the edge of the unknown together. So we need to be unified. So that's the purpose of this short transformance, to complete a Zoom session.
And Gary, just 1 second before that plays, my mom just reminded me I'm here at my mom's house. This is where I do my broadcast from, because she has good internet. And we wanted to invite people to make a donation to the Global Coherence Pulse. We're going to be doing that tonight on Saturday Night Alive. We do these for free for the world. We've been doing it for 1.5 years now. Everybody's volunteering their time. And the donations really help to cover our expenses of the Zoom lines and all of those things. And we have somebody who's given us a $2,000 matching grant. And so I'm hoping that today and tonight that we can raise those $2,000 and then have enough to complete the year with our expenses and be able to keep offering this beautiful space for us all to come together. So
I thought this was all funded by the Ford Foundation. I thought the gift you give us in anchoring this is so inestimable. And I, for one, am so grateful that you are in the world.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you so much. So please give if you can, and let's go into our transformance.
Let's integrate what we've experienced with each other. Let's appreciate what's been created through our joint presence in the same space. Let's be grateful for each one of us and for ourselves, and for this unique experience that we have shared. And let's take it forward into our lives and let the ripples of unity move outwards from us, touching those around us and those around them and those around them, traveling all the way around the planet.